And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Marie Kayali, who has had 3 occasions of missing time and can recall some memories of each one of them. This has developed into UFO sightings regularly, and they follow her to different parts of the world and usually appear over her gardens. So today we're going to learn about that and more. Marie, thank you for joining me and welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. It's great to be on the show. Looking forward to it.
Me too. So Marie, how did this all begin in the first place?
Gosh, how did it all begin? Going back a few years, I was actually very young. I was only a small child when at the time I didn't know what it was, but now that I think about my life and go back, it's definitely significant. So my mother said I was about 3 years old, and I would wake up with screaming some nights, not every night, but occasionally I'd wake up screaming, pointing at the wall and saying, people are coming, people are coming. And it frightened them a lot, because I grew up in Ireland, in Dublin, family very Irish, mom, aunties, her sisters, terrified of everything, terrified of banshees and ghosts and spirits. And in those days, like growing up Catholic, everything was either the devil or an angel. This is on occasion with one who screams howling, they're the banshees. So there was nothing really else in between. So it really scared people if you had an experience or anything. So they didn't not believe me, but it was like, oh my God, what's happening to this child? Is she serious? Is it real? What do we do? So it frightened them a lot as it was happening. And that went on for a couple of years. I'd say I had some very strange experiences where I was being strangled by my mother. Reminded me of it recently before she died, and we were talking. She says, "Well, you never really mentioned aliens, but you remembered you talked about a witch. There was a horrible witch that I felt used to come and strangle me with her hair and drag me out of the bed." And I was only young, and that was terrifying. That was a really bad, either it was a recurring dream or it was real. I don't know, but it was horrible, and it terrified me going to bed. I hated going to bed and hated lights off, and I'd read by little torchlight and the moon. Even I used to read by the moon up at the window and things like that, just anything to keep awake. And I've been like that all my life with sleeping. I only sleep 3 or 4 hours a day, and I've always done that. I think my body is accustomed to that now, even working long hours and everything else. I worked in the city of London and, quite busy traveling and everything. And I survived on 3 or 4 hours a night, which is okay. Never felt unhealthy, where some people, if they don't get sleep, they can't function. I was never like that. I was always able to function. It was terrible as a teenager as well, with my aunties, and they were older teenagers, where I would have been 10 or 11, and I would stay up with them. They'd tell me horror stories and all the rest of it. So I don't remember any UFOs or anything. I didn't really go out on my own in the dark, so I never noticed if there were any overhead. It was all like, there was a couple of occasions sleep paralysis, which is absolutely horrible. I don't know if you want me to go into that. It's absolutely horrible.
Let me ask you this. Is it possible that you had a near-death experience as a child?
Somebody else said that to me, because I had another experience, like when I was older, that was very like a near death. We can go into that. And somebody said that to me a couple of times. I really don't know. It's like the sleep paralysis. I get a really loud sound in my ears, and it sounds like I'm next to a jet engine. It's that loud, really loud. And my ears are actually sore when I wake up. So it is like something has happened. And like, I'm completely paralyzed. I can only move my eyes, and I'm looking straight up, because I sleep on my back actually, and you can't see anything. There's something in the room, something very creepy. It doesn't feel good. It always felt really evil to me. I don't know why, because it never harmed me really, never did anything. But it's like an air of evil in the room. It really felt to me like it was Satan. I thought it was the devil. Maybe because of my upbringing, I don't know.
I don't know if anybody's ever asked you this, and I don't know your spiritual beliefs yet because we just met, but Do you think it's possible that prior to this life, you came from somewhere else and these beings are part of your star family?
That's been said. I hear people say that. I do really think I've been somewhere else. This is not my first time at life. I know I've been somewhere else, and they did say that, not say that to me as such. When I did have one experience where I remember the beings, and they felt like family to me. I loved them so much, and they loved me, and it was like, oh my God, it's great to see you, and that kind of thing. And we were all so happy, and it was like when they went and the experience was over, I just felt a loss, like, oh, it's probably going to be another 20 years before I see them again, or something like that. It was like that kind of feeling, but I knew who they were, and they did feel like I was one of them and belonged and everything as well. So I don't know, that could be possible,
What did they
you
look
know.
like?
They were like just energy. I didn't see features, but they had the shape of the head and shoulders, but it was just pure golden light, just absolutely amazing. And there were five of them, and they were just, they could move, and the it would come out and stretch and like the light, because one came out to me in like a hand, and I took hold of it, but it was like light, and they were just, oh, the love I felt and everything, that it was just amazing, like nothing you feel on earth. It
Hmm.
was unbelievable.
Hmm.
We can go into that as well a bit later on.
Let's fast forward to the first time that you had missing time.
Okay. First time I had a first experience, but I don't remember missing time when with my first boyfriend when I was about 18, where something did come. He ruined his life. He ended up in a mental institution from what he saw. He said he saw aliens in the room operating on me and taking things out of my stomach. And I didn't feel a thing. I remember the noises. I woke up just as all this noise in the house. My God, it was like we were at his parents' house. They were away for the weekend, and I'd stayed over. And we just woke up 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up to all this noise. It was like the wardrobe door was banging, things were jumping off the floor, everything was rattling, and I'm like, oh my God, what is it? What is it? And it stopped. Then it stopped, and he was in the corner, like holding his medals and everything, like this, and in disbelief, and laughing hysterically like a lunatic, and just completely lost his mind. And I thought, again, it was a poltergeist. I thought, my God, there's something really evil being in here, because didn't see lights that time, didn't see a spaceship, didn't see aliens, didn't see anything like that. To me, it was just all poltergeist activity. So I never put it together. I never put these things together before, but definitely I know now it's all connected. But at that time, I didn't know. I didn't have a clue.
Well, that's
And
amazing. It's amazing that your boyfriend witnessed it.
oh, he said
And
it just,
unfortunately, which horrible, which it messed him up so
he never got
badly.
better.
He
He
went
never
to a
got
mental
better.
institution.
Yeah, they put him away for ever. He never came out. He used to come out the odd weekend, and he'd come to my mom's house for me, because I'd moved to London then at this time. And he'd come to my mom's house. Have the aliens brought her back yet? Where's Marie? Where is she? Have they taken her? But he said he described them as something really horrible, not like a little grey, not like a being, like something like off the Alien movies
Or
or
maybe
something like that.
something reptilian.
I don't know. He didn't mention reptilian the word, but he said it reminded him of the one in the Alien movie. It was all ghastly,
Mm.
ugly, horrible face and things like that, and scared the living daylights out of him. He never recovered. He never did.
Was he
And then they said he was schizophrenic and he'd all these mental disorders now.
was his mental history generally normal before all
Yeah,
this
completely
happened?
normal. He was a good artist. He was very good at a lot of making things, and not just an artist, he could do models and make furniture and all sorts of things. And when that happened to him, he couldn't even write his name. His hand was all shaky. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do anything. I lost touch then. I went to London, stayed there, and got married. But I just heard news from the family whenever he'd turn up, and he's looking in a really bad state, and he's not well at all. He's just completely gone off the scale.
Mm.
But he's never ever changed his mind about the aliens. He keeps going on about these aliens,
Wow.
and it's dominated his life. So that was the first one. So I don't know if there's any missing time there.
Mm-hmm.
That was that first one that really badly affected me for a long time.
Mm.
That was even more excuse not to go to bed.
Uh-huh. What
Oh
about
my
the
God, I'm
second?
here.
It's unfortunate that maybe if he would have found the right person, he would have worked him through that.
Yeah,
You
so
know what
that
I
was
mean?
nothing in those days. It was early 80s or something. It was nothing like that. I remember I read afterwards, I read Bud Hopkins, and it was like, oh my God, boyfriend said he saw them taking things out of my stomach. So I sort of looked into that for a little while, but no, I don't go with that anymore.
Mm.
I'm actually met him and things and had a couple of sessions with him. Not convinced that the answers are there in regression, to be
Do you
honest.
do you think
Didn't
it's?
help me.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but do you think it's possible that you have some type of alien implant within your body?
Oh, well, I've had three things removed from my body that the doctors don't know what they were. And I have actually got something in my eye at the moment. And I've got the MRI scan,
Mm-hmm.
I've got a photograph. What it was I'd been filming, I filmed a UFO that morning. It was in London. And it was just a grey ship outside my window. Took a couple of pictures of that. And then I went to bed. It was about 4 a.m. Went to bed, got up at 9, and just caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. And oh my God, I nearly passed out. My eye was just completely blood, just red. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. And I called my doctor and he said, oh, you better come down. It's only down the road. He said, I'll see you straight away. Come down. I thought I was having a brain hemorrhage or something because my eye felt normal. I didn't feel any pain, nothing at all whatsoever. So I didn't think my eye was hurt. I thought it was blood coming from my brain. So that's what scared me. But I took a photo really fast with my camera first. Then I went down. But when I came back, took some more photographs. The doctor said to me, don't worry, it's a burst blood vessel. Have you been deep sea diving? And I said, unlikely. In London, no. And he said, what it is like some right, really strong pressure has happened behind your eye. And did you sneeze really violently? And I thought, no, nothing like that. There's no reason for that to happen. But he said, don't worry, you don't need any drops. It's not infected. It'll heal up when the blood goes. It takes a while. So it'll be about 4 weeks. And that's what happened. There's nothing needed. But when I got back, I took more pictures with my daughter's camera, a better camera. When I looked at the one on mine, there's actually something sticking out of my eye. Just the one picture I took with me. It was a really terrible phone, so the picture's not great. But there's a little silver, like a V shape, sticking out of my eye. You can see a slit, and you can see it's half in, half out. And that wasn't there when I got to the doctor's surgery because he didn't see anything. He said there's nothing in there, and there's nothing there. And when I took photographs when I came back, you can see there's a piece of skin when you close up. It's healed over. So whatever it was there when I woke up, went inside my eye, and is still in there as far as I know. And I did have an MRI scan for something else where I had bad sinuses and they gave me an MRI, and something did show up on my eye. The doctors never mentioned that, I just seen it later. So I could send you a photograph, the MRI scan on that. It shows that one of my lenses is missing. And I've had them analysed and looked at by an eye consultant, but he didn't want to get involved with the UFO scene. But it was a friend of a friend, a professor I know. And he looked at the photographs and looked at everything and the MRI scan. And he said, one of your eye lenses is missing, but that's impossible because you'd be blind if you haven't got a lens on your eye. And it clearly shows in all the MRIs. I've got a few of them that there's no lens there. And I don't know. He said I should be blind, but I've got perfect eyesight. And nothing's ever bothered me with the eyes again after that. So that was a really strange one. I also had something removed from my jaw. These were recent. My eye one was about maybe 10 years ago now. My jaw one, I don't know when that was, could be 5 years ago, six, I don't know, something like the same, around the same time. That was really bad. There was something embedded in all the nerves of my face down here. So they had to do an operation, and the doctor said, that's really bad, your nerves. If I damage one of them, I'll get paralyzed in the face. But he managed, over 2 operations, they managed to do it and got it out. But he sucked it up with this machine, so I never got to see what it was, didn't know. I didn't think to ask him, I want that. I thought he would take it out with the tweezers and pop it in the bowl, like ding. And I'd go, oh, is that it? But he sucked it up with this dental tube thing, and I've no say in the matter. So that goes into the trash, doesn't it? So that was another thing. And it left me paralyzed in my face, all the side of my face, for about 4 months. The Novocaine didn't wear off. They didn't know what was wrong. They said, your nerves are okay. We've x-rayed you again. No damage done. And we don't know why the Novocaine doesn't wear off. That's impossible. It should wear off. But it was just like weekly visits, needles, testing, and it just wasn't coming back. And then one day it just came back all of a sudden. I'm like, oh my God, thank God. It's like when do you ever get a dental and you get frozen, you get the needle? Well, it was like that continually. I didn't get the feeling back. I was waiting for it to come back in the evening. Nothing happened. And it just stayed like that for months. I couldn't eat properly, couldn't drink properly, couldn't do anything. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. And I was thinking, if that never comes back, will I live like this? But that's something Daryl Sims talks about, isn't it? With the implants, and it left somebody paralyzed as well. It happens. There's records of that happening.
I'm not.
But
I'm
so
not aware
far,
of.
I haven't seen them.
I'm not aware of what Daryl Sims has said, but
It was just that stuck out with me when I looked at one of his interviews,
mm,
and I actually contacted him and asked him, did he know what it was? Did he find out what's his findings and studies finding out? He wasn't any help, and he referred me to a couple of UFO people here. That was the worst mistake I ever made.
well,
So all around, it wasn't a very good idea.
that's too bad. Well, let's move forward to the second time that you had missing time.
Yeah, the second time was in my flat in London, and my husband, my daughter, and I, the three of us. Now, my daughter used to go to bed very early. She loved her sleep, and she wouldn't even stay up late to watch cartoons. She'd go to bed and leave her friends up there with me. She loved her sleep. Never woke up with nightmares, never afraid of the dark, nothing like that. So my husband and I watching a movie, and I know it was 10 to 1, by calculating, doing the sums afterwards. It was 10 to 1. We were watching the end of the movie, and my daughter suddenly screamed, Mommy, Mommy, and like really bad screams. Oh my God. I ran in. I said, what's the matter? And she said, the building's falling down, the building's falling down. And I said, it's not, it's okay, don't worry, don't worry. She said everything in her room was shaking, all like everything, all the toys, things on the shelves, everything was shaking, even the bed. And we didn't feel anything, nothing at all. So she was really upset. And I said, you must have had a dream. She said, it wasn't a dream, it wasn't a dream. And then she said, can I sleep in your bed? And I said, yeah, sure. That was the very first time she ever asked that. She used to love her own room. So I was in the bed, they were lying down, had the lights off, and I told my husband, just going to sleep in our bed, I'll put her to sleep and make sure she's okay. So we're lying down in the bed, and through the crack in the curtain, this light came in like a laser and got me right in the eye. And it was like, phew. And I thought, oh my God, what was that? Because I lived on the fourth floor. There was another couple of floors over me, but I had a good view of the sky out there. And there was no lights up that high. Nothing shone in, none of the neighbors' lights would shine in like that. So it got my attention straight away. And I jumped up and looked out the window, and there was this like it was just like a glowy ball, like an orb they are now. I call them now, but I called it a big glowy ball at the time. Huge, like bigger than the moon, and down much lower, just over. It was over the buildings opposite me, and it was huge, absolutely huge. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a UFO! I knew straight away. I didn't know what else it could be. So I ran into my husband. I'm like, look at this! You're gonna see this! You're gonna see this! And it just went weird after. I remember he looked out the window, and then I ran back to the bed, and he just said something. Oh, I don't even know. I can't even make up what he said. So I can't think of what he said. I just can't remember. Something like, oh, it's nothing, or something like that. I ran back to the bedroom, and I was looking at the window. My daughter was next to me, and she was looking at the window as well. We're looking at this thing, and it was like at 1 o'clock by that time. And next thing I know, it's 6 a.m. in the morning, and I'm still standing there at the window. And so I went about my business, went to work, but thinking about it afterwards, I don't know if my daughter was in bed, where was she? I don't know if my husband came to bed. I don't remember going to work. Was it a weekend? Was it a work day? I don't know. I don't remember a lot of that afterwards. And then it was a few weeks later, then I was in work, and it was in my office, and some of the girls were talking in the kitchen, and one of them mentioned UFO on TV last night. And when she said UFO, my memory came back. Oh my God, that UFO, that big glowy ball and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, how on earth could I forget that? How did I forget the sighting? How did I forget it? So I couldn't wait to rush home and find out my daughter and my husband what they remembered. He remembered nothing at all. He remembers me running in, saying, "Look at this." He doesn't remember anything after that point. Same as me, really. And my daughter was very strong in saying it was not a dream. You said it was a dream. I told you it wasn't a dream. It wasn't a dream. Everything was really moving. My bed was moving and everything. And she, you said it was a dream. So I tried, I didn't want to push her for anything else. So I don't know if she had the missing time with me or if those two were just knocked out cold. I really don't know. But there was 5 hours missing. Then it was 1 a.m. and then suddenly it's 6. And I didn't remember anything. So then we were trying to put everything together, and I was thinking, oh my God, that definitely is missing time. There's nothing else it can be. And I was trying desperately to remember. And it was only over maybe the space of 2 years that I started remembering. I just woke up one morning and I suddenly remembered something. And I'm thinking, oh my God. And it just all came to me. And then more was coming to me and more was coming to me. And I was thinking, oh my God, it was true. It's real. This is real. And it was like a slap in the face for me, And then I started thinking about everything, everything in the past and how long it'd been going on and things being removed and just everything in general. I thought it all adds up. Each individual little thing by itself is maybe nothing, but over a lifetime, every weird thing, it's just adding up to a really crazy story. That's all I can say. But what I remembered from that episode was I was in my room. Suddenly, I was in the bedroom, and suddenly, like a blue ball came out of the ceiling, like a bubble, just came out of the ceiling. And there was faces in it. I remember, and I remember the faces. They were sort of like a grey, but not, no, not, I wouldn't say they were like grey, round faces, but like old, very old people. Their eyes weren't as big as Grey's. Their eyes would look normal, but maybe slightly bigger than ours, but with eyelashes and eyes, the colour and everything, and just normal eyes, but slightly bigger, but not the big black like that. And they just looked to me like wise old men. I think there were three of them, two or three of them. And then suddenly I was in this place, and I think it was a ship. It must have been a ship. I don't know what else it could have been. I was just in this white place. It was all white. Everything was white. And I couldn't see any rooms, windows, nothing. It was just white, like a completely empty space. And I don't know how big it was. And then as I I don't know if I was walking or floating, but I was moving. And I remember there were two beings like behind me, and I didn't see them at this time. And I remember I just felt the presence. I knew they were there, but they felt quite tall. I could feel a big presence, like two big presence behind walking with me as I'm walking. And I came to this place and I just saw plants everywhere, about a foot or so high, just loads of them everywhere, like for as far as I could see with my eyes, just plants and plants and plants in little pots, loads of them. So I heard in my head, I heard a voice, and I think it was a man's voice. I'm sure it was a man, and it just said, "You can ask two questions." And I don't even remember thinking, "Oh, good," or "Ooh," or anything like that. It was like my mind was a bit dead, like I was just dealing with what they were saying to me, and I didn't expand or think beyond that. And I think I would have if I was in my right mind. So I don't know if I was in a control state or been trying to think about this, and I just know I would have been excited and asked, "Oh my God, who are you?" Turned around and looked at them, and so I don't think you have that ability to do that. They have you under some sort of control. It's the only thing I can think. Otherwise, you'd be going mental, wouldn't you? Wanting to know. I would. I know I would. I'd be going crazy running over the ship and checking everything. I wouldn't be scared. I'd be looking at everything and wanting to know their technology. And this is what I've been waiting for so many years. I'm not going to miss the opportunity. So I think they have you under control. So I asked the question like, what's all these plans for? What are you doing? And I don't even think that was my question or my answer. I would have, or my question rather, I would have asked something more important to me, like, what do you want with me? Or I'm sure I would have asked something like that. I'm dying to know. And they just said they're for the new planet Earth. That was it, nothing else. They're for the new planet Earth. And I just said, oh, okay, thank you. And we walked on. And then we were walking. I could still feel their presence was very strong. I could really feel them. And we were walking along. And then I saw a lot of people, just normal human people in normal clothes, just all standing with their arms down there. And they were looking at something. I don't know if there were screens or something, but everyone was looking at something. And I couldn't see what it was from there. When I walked down, I did see one woman's over her shoulder, or a couple of them, but they were all engrossed in something that I couldn't see. But I assumed it might be the same thing. And they were being shown images on the screen. And what I saw was there was a lovely image of the earth, and it looked just like paradise, what you'd see in a movie about paradise, a fish jumping up all happy, animals and little deer running around all happy, beautiful flowers, all this kind of stuff. It looked really beautiful. And then suddenly it was like something just came across the screen like that, and it just all changed to black, completely black and grey. There was no sun there, it was just all grey. Everything was dead. The ground, everything was full of oil, like like a horrible quicksandy oil. And I could see animals' hooves sticking up, dead fish, like a really horrible scene, like complete devastation of everything. The sea was covered in this stuff. And to me, it was like something coming up out of the ground. That's what I could see. It was like bubbling. And what I was thinking after, maybe it was some oil wells have just been seeping into the ground for so long, they haven't shut them off, maybe like they do. And it's destroyed everything. Eventually it will cover the planet with, poison everything. And you can't grow with that. So I was thinking maybe something like that, but I don't know why the place was in darkness and the grey, like the sun. It could have been a comet hit us or something like that as well. I don't know. I've thought of everything over the years. So they asked me, they said you can ask your second question. And I said, who are all these people? What are you doing with these people? What are you doing? And they said, the voice said, they are being categorized. So I said, oh, okay, that's all they said, they're being categorized.
Wow.
So I was thinking about this. I've had a few years to think about this. And were they being categorized according to their emotions, like who feels what? And when you're going over there, you're going in this pile here, you're going in that one. I really don't know. I've thought of everything, but no, I can't be sure of what I was told and what I was saying. That's all they've given me. And I've never been given any more. I've been asking for answers most of my life. And you don't, well, I say I don't get them. Sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I do know the answers to things, but I don't know if that's my wishful thinking or if that is a definite answer. So I don't want to put information out there if I'm not sure. I like putting information out if I'm completely 100% sure. I can have some sort of evidence for it. And I won't make anything up. I don't add anything. Even though I've been in this rabbit hole so long, I haven't never followed any individual ideology or anyone's theories, but I've looked into all of them and just all of them come out zero in my opinion. I haven't found anyone that's really truthful and working there to get the information out. So you're at a loss if you're someone in my position looking for answers. You're really at a loss. And that's terrible. It's so sad that we haven't got a few even good, but you can't really do a job, be a good one because you get all the things against you and everything else. So it's like an impossible situation, I think, getting, you know, disclosure or any kind of disclosure.
Was that the first time that you saw an orb?
The orbs. I had got the odd one in photographs over the years, and you think it was a camera making a mistake or a light or something. But the first time I started filming them, it was the day after my mother died in this house, actually. And my brother caught a lovely green one, and he was here first before me. He said, "We've been filming orbs, some lovely orbs in the house." So I said, "Oh, really?" So I started filming. So my brother stopped filming. He went home to his own house. And I started filming every day. And is there anybody here? And loads would come out. And so ever since that, and then I went back to London to my own flat, and then they followed me there. They started coming out all over the place. And I got some lovely ones. Then I started seeing them in the garden, and then the ships, like the craft. See, you call them orbs as well. It's a bit confusing to people. What are orbs? Are orbs spiritual? Are they our loved ones? Well, I know for a fact, yes, definitely one was, because my mother's face is in it. And I sent you that as well. And that is no doubt my mother's face in an orb. And that was in Sri Lanka. I was there for a year, and I was feeling a bit low because I just lost my daughter. So I was feeling a little bit low and out there for the yoga and the peace and all this, the nature, trying to get my life back and, trying to feel a bit better. And it means my mother was out there with me because I filmed the orb. But I sort of see them first. I might see one, and then I'll get my camera. And so if I see one or two, I'll know, or something strange might happen, a strange noise, and I'll think, oh, there's something here. And I'll get my camera out. So that's how I'm able to get some of the orbs. And then sometimes I'll just say, is there anybody there? And one will fly out. And that lovely red one flew out. And that's been in my mum's room as well. I've caught a red one in my mum's bedroom a couple of times. So that's 3 times I've had the red orb. So just wondering, was that her the 3 times? But I put it on Twitter not so long ago, a few months ago, and it was one of my Twitter followers loves orbs and puts, the filters on them and looks for things in them. And in mine, straight away, she just put a coloured filter on, and this face came up. And she said, "My God, I have to show you this." And when I saw it, there's no doubt in my mind that it's my mom's face. It's just the image of her.
That's
It's my
amazing.
mom's face. So I sent it around the family, and they're all, "My God, it's unbelievable." That's the second one I've caught my mom's face in, which is, it's just amazing when you think about it.
It is.
I didn't even think of my mom, to be honest, in the orb. I thought, so when I film UFOs sometimes, an orb would come down and I'd film it in the garden, just a little orb about like a baseball or something size, and would fly around. And I connected a lot of them to the UFOs. So they sent one of their little people down there. I don't know what they are. Are they surveillance? How much surveillance are they going to do? You know, I just have to sit outside and say, "Is anyone there? Are you there?" And they appear just out of nowhere. So where are they coming from? They're not flying here. How can they be here so instantly like that? It just amazes me. I just have to know. I have to know before I die.
Let's try to take a look at some of your pictures.
I had a lot of experience in Sri Lanka, and I was on my own in villas in the middle of nowhere sometimes, and this one is in the middle of nowhere. And I just saw some lights outside, and I got my camera, took various pictures. And as you can see, the orbs in this one, I could see them, and they were moving, they were flying, they weren't insects. They weren't even that big. They were maybe the size of footballs, I think. But if you look down on the bottom, down here where the grass is, you can see some of the balls. You could actually,
Mm-hmm.
they look metallic. They're not lights. They're actually a physical metallic object. And there's at least, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can see 7 of them just here. So I don't know what they were, but they seem to have flocked to me. I don't know if they're connected to the spirit world. This is where I would like some advice, or if anyone knows anything. How do you decipher? Because I get them with UFO sightings. I have some amazing sightings there, and the orbs come with them.
Uh,
So, and then I see my mom's face in one, so I'm a bit confused.
if you look up in the cloud, are there orbs
Yeah,
up in the cloud as well?
yeah. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have other photographs that were taken after this, and it shows that they are actually moving. So they're not trick of the lights or insects or anything like that. They were quite big.
It's cool.
So I don't know. Sri Lanka was a very spiritual place. There's a lot happening over there, really a lot.
All right, well, let's move on to another one. Do you happen to have the one with your mother's face in the orb?
This is her face. You can see like here, I don't know if you can see my arrow, her curl. She normally has a little curl that comes down because she wears her hair up like this, an old pin sometimes. And she has a little curl that comes down. It's even got the curl. And that was the picture that somebody found in the orb. Mine was actually a video. I don't know if I have the video, but mine was actually video. She just froze framed it. I never thought of doing that before.
I feel like I can see two eyes and kind
Yeah,
of
there's the eyes.
Can you use your cursor to point it out?
Yeah, there's the mouth here, the nose, two eyes. This is all hair, fringe. This is all hair at the side here, ear here, and the curl going down at the side. But there's the eyes there, and the mouth here. And this is another picture that was very strange. It was like a picture in the sky. I was I thought the sunset was lovely. I was sitting at a restaurant and I thought it was a beautiful sunset. And as I was taking the video, this big black cloud just appeared, this horrible, like, ghouly face. And I'm like, I'm laughing. I'm like, you don't frighten me, whoever you are. But can you see that face there?
Looks like something smiling or laughing at you.
There's a bit better one. Here in the middle, just like looks like a big demon. That scared me a little bit. So is there something out there trying to frighten me, or I just laugh? Nothing frightens me anymore. I'm just so immune to things, and loads of scary things have happened. This is another UFO that was outside. This is outside my flat in London. And this was the one I took when I had the thing in my eye. But if I look down there at the sun, there's a little sun down here. There's like a piece missing out of the sun, like it's an eclipse or something.
Yeah, I see that.
Look.
That's fascinating.
It was sunset, so that was very weird. And I got two photos of that. And it wasn't during an eclipse or anything. That was a little UFO, and it moves in the second. I don't know where the second picture is. It's not together. These are another ones as well. This was one of 5. I'll try and zoom in. I just took pictures. The sky was lovely and clear, and I thought to take some pictures of that lovely plane there with the contrail. And zooming in on the picture months later, I noticed there are 6 objects that were around in a semicircle. And I zoomed in on them, and that was the lovely orb there. They were like this, just 6 of those orbs, lovely colors, green, but it's like they're not a physical object. It's so strange, some of the craft. They're like smoke or light or a reflection, or but some of them have been physical metal craft as well. It's very strange. I get it both. I get different things. I get the actual crafts that are definite nuts and bolts and windows and metal and lights and everything else. And then I get the ones that look like these orbs, and they're so beautiful. They moved around the sky, with the other photo. When I took a few clicks, they'd moved to different parts of the sky very quick. You can see, I'll just zoom in on this. You can see just one up right by the cloud there. It's trailing me. So these are not planes, not helicopters. And there were 6 of them in a semicircle. These are definitely, that's roughly the size of the plane, so these are big objects. So that's what happened yesterday. So this was the orb yesterday. So there's nothing in the sky, as you can see. It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's not a helicopter. And this was quite big and very bright. And it did just like the slinky a little bit that I saw. It was acting exactly like this, but it came down very low. So I don't know if these are craft. I got a couple of clips managed before it disappeared. So I've got hundreds of these, literally hundreds. You can see how bright it is. And it's not really a nuts and bolts kind of craft, is it?
Right. Do you have any video or pictures of something that looks nuts and bolts?
Yeah. It was a new camera. I bought a new Lumix just for quickness sake. And but you can see the lights, definitely not a plane. And I was watching it as well. I mean, this was a craft right there off my garden. It had two, I think it had two red lights, but they weren't on the sides, they were in a line. Two red lights, two green lights, two red lights, and then a white light on the top. And they were flashing sometimes all together, sometimes, because I did observe it for quite a while before I took the footage and after, because I couldn't get the camera to work properly. So that was quite an exciting one. I mean, I was watching it. My Zoom jammed. So that was not playing. There's no noises out there. It's loads of helicopters just above the tree. So I do get the craft, and they belong to the same ones. I'm not getting different kinds of races coming here. So what's the explanation? It wasn't a drone. See from the lights here that it's not like a plane or anything. I think it was a triangle object like this, and it had the lights all in a line like this, but they were coming on in different sequences, like red, green, white, red, green, white. And the flashes weren't like on a plane, like fast flashes. When you can watch it again, you can see what I saw was amazing. And because it was much lower, my wide angle then came on the camera, so it went far away, but that was actually quite near me. And it was quite scary, actually. It was a bit scary because it's a bit daunting when you see a craft just over your garden. It's not making any noise. And what do they want? Why would they be bothered if I say, can I see you? Can I have a visit? Can you come and see me? I'm missing you. It's been months. This is what I was saying when I see these. This one, it was 1 a.m. actually, so I wasn't out in the garden this time, but my kitchen window in there, it overlooks the garden, but there's one space in the sky that I can see where there's no trees. And that's the only space. I do look out there occasionally to see if there's any lights. And that's exactly where this was. I caught the light and went in the kitchen to make coffee. And it was there, the light started flashing. And I thought, my God, what's that? Because planes don't come near me like that. I get them quite high up. The airport's not too near here.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really high up. You can't even hear them. So I don't get low planes very often. Get a helicopter, police and things.
Right.
And that was outside. It was behind the tree. And I just saw these amazing colors, blue, purple, yellow, green. And I thought, wow, that is amazing. But when I get the craft at nighttime, they're just a white light, a lovely, bright white light. But I can tell there's a craft behind the light. If somebody could lighten the footage for me. So this one here is all the colors. Look how bright and nice it is. Blue, yellow, green. That's been here about 3 times. I have 2 more videos of this one. Just the same bright light like that. Lovely colors.
Yeah,
and that's just behind the trees at the bottom of my garden.
This one is amazing how it changes
Yeah, it's
colors.
lovely. I love this one. It's amazing, the colors. So that's not anything we have, And it's got this thing missing there, which I've seen before in other sightings, I'm sure, in history.
Yeah, that is interesting. I've never seen a little piece missed out or missed like that before.
There as well.
Hmm.
Look at this one here, things like this. Like this one. I get quite a lot of them. I don't know if that's a window there. I'll show you the main picture in a minute. This, like, it was the sky just in the corner. And I just caught it as it flew past. So I don't know if that's a window. Some of them have this black thing, as I said, like that. I don't know. It must be a window.
The part that's not black looks metallic.
Yeah, that's metallic, silver. And it looks like maybe if the sun shone on it there, it might get really bright. But then they've always got this black part, there as well. Or if it turns around, if that turned around at a different angle, it might be just a ball and it'd have that black thing in the middle. So a lot of them have that I've filmed.
Let's fast forward to your next missing time.
Okay, the second one. How many years would that have been later? Hmm. So there's been big gaps in between. It was 1998, I think. Oh no, it wasn't. It was 2010, and it was the night before my sister died, actually. And I'd been over at the hospital with my uncle, and they told us that my sister, she wasn't going to live past another day. She'd cancer, basically, and it was the last stages. So we were a bit upset and went home. He stayed at my house that night, and he went to bed and fast asleep, and I was at my window having a cigarette at the window. And then I was just daydreaming out the window. And then suddenly, as I said, I was on the fourth floor. Normally, I see everything out there. That's my view. That's where I see them. I wouldn't see them anywhere else. And I had these big, huge windows in all the rooms. So I had a great view there. So all of a sudden, just, I couldn't believe this. I just saw something, the corner of my eye just caught me. And it was this craft just came out over the building, just stuck its nose out, if you like. And it was like a triangle shape I saw at the end. But it just stuck the top part out like this. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And it actually came out halfway. And I saw the bottom of it. It wasn't a smooth craft. It wasn't like just a little or with nothing on it. This had so much. I cannot tell you what was going on underneath there. It was busy. There was things spinning, loads of little twinkly lights. There was things moving. It was just like something off Independence Day. I'm not joking. And it was so low over my building. I could see absolutely everything, everything. It was just, it looked only about this much higher than the building, not much higher, a few feet, that's all. And I got my camera again, thinking, oh my God, I grinned from ear to ear because I'd never, ever, ever seen one that big in my life, or again, not that close, low down. I mean, how in this? I was in central London, in the middle of central London in Kensington. It's even 24-hour area. Things open, the traffic is all night as well. So it's so busy, people coming out, clubs and bars and everything else. So it's a really busy area. I don't know how I used to get them over my building, but I was just looking at this thing and it just was, I was awestruck. Got my phone, I thought I took 4 minutes of film, and then it just came out into the, I was overlooking the garden, came out over the garden like this, and I could see everything. It was, then I could see it was a triangle shape like this, but it had a bit on the bottom like this. So like this, so like a Christmas tree shape, just like that you draw. And then it just sort of glided really slow to the left like this and just went over the rooftops. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I didn't know whether to call my uncle, tap bang on the wall or something, and he was fast asleep. And I was just thinking, oh my God, I can't believe this. I was just grinning and so happy and laughing from ear to ear. And I just had this elation and this, it was just unbelievable. My sister was gone out of my mind completely. I didn't even think about it that time. And then I didn't remember those memories either for about 2 years or something, 3 years. And I remember I was washing up at the kitchen sink and I just saw a photograph. It was like a photograph in my mind, just like a snapshot. And it was the ship sticking out like this with all the stuff underneath. And that's how it happened. Every 15 minutes, another one would come, and it was me going into the ship. I could see what was happening going into it and me going up. And I remember then I was on the ship that night. And what I remember on the craft was not a smooth little room, like people say, not like that white place I saw. This was full of controls. It was like something, it was like being on a Star Trek, and all the boards and like computer things and lights and just everything blinking. The whole, I was in this room and the whole area, whatever it was all controls, all controls. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm aware in my mind at this stage when I got I got my memory back. It's never happened to me before, only does twice. And I used to I wish I got a flashback in memory. When it comes back, when you see the image, I've noticed it jogs your memory and you remember it as well. So it doesn't only bring the image, you'll get the whole picture as well with the images surrounding that image. So that's what happened. Every image I saw brought me a bit further. So I remember floating up. And then I was in this room and it had a huge table in it. And it looked only small compared to, see, this is the weird thing. The craft to me didn't look that huge. It looked like a man craft for about 5 people, moderate size, bigger than a helicopter. It wasn't as huge as a huge plane. Might have been small aircraft size, but as you can see, it's very low. So it wasn't huge. But when I was going up into it and saw the controls, I was like a tiny dot. It was like enormous. And I'm thinking, how can this be that little ship I just saw outside? It doesn't make sense. But this place was huge, enormous, and so much going on. I got an insight into their technology and I can't explain it. It was so much. It had to be the control room for the whole ship, or was I taken somewhere else to a mothership? I don't know, because how could all that stuff be on that little ship? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. But I got into this room and that's when I saw the 5 beings. I was looking around and they just like appeared just suddenly. And they were there, just the golden glow. And it was like not as bright as the sun, but they were quite. I mean, I could look at them without any problems, and I just knew who they were straight away, and I was just so happy, and I was just it was just unbelievable, unbelievable, like all greeting each other after so many years or something like that. And my sister never came into it, never asked any questions. That wasn't even in the subject then, wasn't even in my mind. And then one of them, there was like, I don't know, I think there were 5 of them or four of them, 4 of them. Yeah, there was 2 small ones and 2 large ones, a bit larger. So these were about, I'd say about 7 foot, they're quite tall. And the little ones maybe 5 foot or a bit taller than me, maybe 5'5", something like that. So one of them, one of the smaller ones, just put out the hand for me, and I just took it straight away. Just put my hand, and took it, and I was sucked in like, into this big swirl. It just the 5 of them, 4 of them, and me, 5 of us, just swirled and swirled, swirling around, and I wasn't dizzy or sick or anything, but I just remember it was just amazing, amazing. And then I found myself. It was like I was a particle. I can't explain it any other ways. I was like a particle float in space, flying around. I could see the galaxies. I could see everything. I knew what everything they knew. It was like we shared a consciousness and we were all together. And I was with them in everything. Everything they knew, I knew. And I was thinking, oh my God, at last, I know everything. It's what I've always wanted. And I was just thinking how great it was and an amazing experience. And then when I'm back here, I completely forgot everything. It's your clothes, you're trapped again, or whatever we are here. I don't know. But that's all I remember. And just those beings, the love. I just felt the love from them. It was just so that filled me with a totally different outlook on everything. I mean, I love seeing them now. I love when they come around, and the fact that they're just coming all the way from God knows where to see little old me. I still can't fathom that. I don't know why. Years ago, I did think you're part of a program. It's something they're doing. I didn't think they were very nice. I thought they'd probably be hostile and a bit cold. But I've since changed my mind on that, because when you're terrified of something unknown, you automatically go to the negative. You think negative. You're not going to be thinking anything positive when you're scared witless out of your mind. So I think that covers a lot of the fear that I felt. It was my own fear, not them doing anything to me. So as soon as I discovered that, I stopped being afraid. And they didn't hurt me ever, not that I know of. So I'm thinking, why am I afraid? Just why am I afraid? just go with it. Open your mind, open everything, and tell them to come in, you know. So I've been doing that, and they have showed me since 2017, that's when I've been getting all the visual orbs in the sky and all the UFOs. Since I got those 6 in a semicircle, every time I go out now, I take pictures, they're out there, take videos, they're out there.
That's
And it's just every single time,
That's
every time.
That's amazing. I really love the way your story kind of summarizes. And what I mean by that is, in the beginning, it appears you were afraid, but now that you've become accustomed to them and had more experience, and you had an amazing experience at that point, you're not afraid anymore. You're happy and possibly even happy to see them.
I love them. I want to go on trips with them, you know, and I want to know about them and know about their technology and where they're from, what kind of life do they live on a day-to-day basis and all that stuff. But I think now that they've been here a long time, you know, they've been here an awful long time, much longer than we possibly can even imagine. So, you know, what are they doing? And do they really belong here and we're the aliens? I don't know.
That's a good
Did
point.
we just get dropped here sometimes? Or, you know, planets exploding, Mars exploded, we were all just dumped here by a rescue mission or something like that. Could be something like that. We're the aliens.
Oh, that's amazing that you came up with that idea. I mean, maybe it's true.
Yeah, because I think if there was life on Mars, it seems to be they're trying to say it's the same as the things we have here, like all the monuments and statues and everything. So in that case, are they us? Why would they have the same statues and same kind of style? All these broken things they find. They look very human, don't they? What we have here.
Did you have any other cases of missing time?
That's all I remember.
Okay.
No,
all right, that's okay.
I'm trying to see when I take before, I never used to take notes of anything, and I wouldn't even know when I'm asleep and I get some sleep paralysis. They could take you and you don't even know. And
right.
the weird thing is, when something would happen, I'd hear a noise and think, oh my God, someone out there, and then fall asleep. That's not like me. When you hear a noise, your adrenaline is like, I'm awake, I'm gonna jump up and I'll go investigate. I don't just fall asleep. And that's happened on occasions where something will happen and I just fall asleep. I was like, no, that's not possible. So there's been quite a few of those. But I just wish I'd remember. Why don't they let you remember? I don't know. It's so annoying. Really is annoying, especially now after all this length of time. I thought I would have had more answers by now, especially either people in the government with disclosure or other people or anyone who can get answers who can. You know, I thought we would have been a lot more open by now after all this time. I'm just disappointed that there's nothing forthcoming. And we get the same people, well, different people, but the same stories now again in the news, you know, saying that they've got bodies and craft, which I doubt that. I don't think we've got bodies or craft. Because when you see these beings, they're not going to make mistakes. They really are not going to just come all the way here from wherever they are, either it be another dimension or another planet. I think they're from another planet. They're intergalactic travelers. That's what I think, and I've always felt that. And maybe they do get here some sort of interdimensional way, but I do believe they're from a planet. And I've got names and things like that. I woke up and have a name in my mind, and one of them was the Sculptor Galaxy, which I looked it up. It does exist, and I think they're from there. I'll get a name and it'll be repeating. I'll wake up and I'll hear this name or a word repeating in my mind, and then why am I saying that? Just as I wake up, and I've found out that these are always significant. Don't get many. But it happened with the Sculptor Galaxy.
Sculptor Galaxy.
Sculptor, yeah. SCULPTOR.
Marie, after watching this podcast, people may want to ask you questions. If you're open to that, should they do it on Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter's probably the best. I use that mainly now. I'm open to all questions, good or bad. I'll try to answer everything to the best of my ability. And I know a lot of people have questions and are disbelieving. I've had it all my life since I was a child. You know, people are you get so that's understandable. I understand that, and so I understand those people. I don't get annoyed about it, and I try to discuss with them and which bit they want knowledge about and a bit more information. I'm trying to give them information. I'm not selling anything. I've never been monetized on my channels. I haven't done any books, no shows, nothing like that. No exhibitions or whatever you call them, conferences. Haven't done anything like that. And I don't really intend to be honest. If I do anything, it'll be just like podcasts like yours, or maybe do a few videos on my own channel. But I don't intend going public or anything like that, any more conferences. So I'm not making money, not out to make money. I'm out especially to look for answers, because it affects me. It really does affect me. And I want to know what these aliens are in my life for all my life. And they've influenced quite a lot, because I get loads of good luck and money coming from different places. When I ask for help, I get it. They really help me with a lot of things, which I'd like to go into, but that would be another show, to be honest, to go through all the intricate things, how they help me.
Right.
But they do, and this is how I think they're not hostile. I know now, they're definitely not hostile. They show such consideration with their appearing, or not to frighten me, and they play jokes as well. They can have a sense of humor and things like this. And I remember before, when I used to try catch craft before I started filming all, it was years ago, and there'd be like a little silver craft or something, and it would go behind the tree and come out, go behind the tree and come out. Would not let me catch. I tried everything to catch films and photos. They never used to let me catch anything. So I feel something has changed. Either they want more transparency and want disclosure, and they're open to letting other people see them now, because loads of people are seeing UFOs now, aren't they? Especially the orbs and what look like big giant balloon things and all this. So something is happening. I think they do want disclosure. And if this has been going on for thousands of years, we're lucky enough to be here when this is happening, because they don't always come through history and contact people, and through, it's been very rare. So this would be a major happening, I think, if it were to happen soon. I do believe it's going to happen very soon.
What is
I
your
just can't wait.
What is your Twitter handle for people to find
Just
you?
Marie's UFOs, Marie Kayali on Marie's UFOs. I
Okay.
have those.
Well, Marie, before we finish up, can you leave us with one last positive message?
Positive message. I believe that as I said, they're not hostile. They're here to make things better. And they're very well aware of the strife people have in life, and everything that we're going through. And if they are here for the better, that can only help the planet individually, and all of us individually, and the way the governments have been running things and all these big corporations. That should stop, So I believe that they're going to help us with all this. I really do. Because it can't go on the way it is. Too many people dying and starving, and we're all living up in the cities, and it's like the rest of the world doesn't exist, And they're all striving to get to these big cities. It's like a fairy story, really, when you think about it, like a fantasy story. All these big rich people in the big cities, and people in little villages have no water and toilet facilities. And it's like their dream is to get to this big city to have a better life for their children, and this and that. The other. And this is happening all over the world. So I travel quite a lot. I go to lots of little villages and off the beaten track kind of places. So I see all this stuff. And it's very strange how it's run. When you're little, you think the whole world is more or less the same. There's a bit of jungle and a bit of this. But to see the extremities that people are living in, and how these big corporations are manipulating them with the coffee, the chocolate, everything, that people are manipulated in other countries, that getting the basics, whereas then they rip us off in the West. It's just horrendous. It needs to stop. And if anything, I want the aliens to do would be sort out that and make life bearable. Let us just live and survive. This is what people are just wanting to do: live and survive and have enough food for the family. This is all what people want, isn't it? Should be easy.
Yes. Marie, thank you for your message, and thank you for being my guest.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much.
The pleasure was all mine.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.